It's the second time in 14 months that members of the cult have perished. 53 members died in apparent murder-suicides in Switzerland and Quebec in October of last year. The CBC's Mimi Tompkins reports.
From the Testaments of the Solar Temple. We have planned in a full state of consciousness our transit. We have closed and voluntarily blown up all the sanctuaries of the secret lodges. Space is short, time is ending. It is without any regret that we leave this world. Cry not over our fate, but rather cry for your own. Our love and peace accompany you during the terrible tests of the apocalypse that awaits you. Joseph de Mambro and Luc Jouret founded the Order of the Solar Temple in 1984 in Geneva, Switzerland. Leaders Joseph de Mambro and Luc Jouret wanted to merge the Old Age Knights Templar and New Age beliefs to form the Order of the Solar Temple. Luc Jouret and de Mambro stated that they were reincarnates of founders of the Knights Templar, and that members of the order were also reincarnates of missionary souls. The Knights Templar of 1119 was a chivalrous Catholic medieval military order whose members defended Christian holy sites in the Middle East during times of the Crusades. The Knights Templar was forced to be disbanded by the Pope because they became too powerful and corrupt and performed forbidden and illegal practices.
Some of the important moral guidelines were devotion to authority of the organization, and one of the goals of the organization was to remind humanity of their dignity, which meant that traits such as laziness, unhealthy actions, or other things that they considered undignifying were negative and not allowed. There are not a lot of specific moral guidelines that are publicly known. This is because the organization was very exclusive, and all of the members that would have followed these morals and guidelines are all dead. While we don't know exactly what morals they held, we can assume that they were sort of in line with what we know about the organization, and they were probably strict and related to showing devotion to the organization.
The Order believed that the blue star Sirius appeared around 26,000 years ago. On this star were masters of the Great White Brotherhood. Their souls exist in some spiritual realm, but manifest in a material form that could be witnessed by members of the temple. Imagine being told that the apocalypse is coming. The Earth is on the cusp of the age of Pisces and Aquarius. We're entering into a new age that will bring fire over the planet in an apocalyptic chaos. The Order of the Solar Temple selects chosen souls to be saved and survive this apocalypse. Temple members were wealthy and educated, eager for spiritual experiences, and excited to be part of a secretive order.
To join, you had to be invited, and you were required to hand over all of your assets and follow the rules of the organization.
The group believed that death on Earth would allow for reincarnation of the soul in the New World. In 1993, members of the Order of the Solar Temple were explaining to the media that they were an innocuous group. Although members were preparing for this transit into another world, many of them likely didn't realize that it would involve murder, and they didn't understand the gravity of the situation. They felt it was more of a passage into another dimension, something soft and gentle. Additionally, most of them felt that this was a consensual process. Rituals often consisted of members moving in rank. They would pay a sum of money and were presented with a new cloak which denoted their ranking. There was so much secrecy within the order. Secrets and mysteries still remain. Members were eager to gain higher ranking because it meant they had access to more information, and it brought their souls closer to enlightenment to be able to move into the next world.
The highest ranking members were located in Zurich, in Switzerland, and they held the title of the Elder Brothers of the Holy Cross. Around the world, lodges were created, and they were ran by what were called regional commanders and 3 elders. Your progression through the organization was represented with levels and grades. There were 3 grades per level. The titles of the levels were Brothers of Parvis, Knights of the Alliance, and Brothers of the Ancient Times. There were multiple different sacred objects and places within this organization. De Mambro had a sword that was used in important rituals, which he claimed was given to him in a previous life 1,000 years ago and was a real Templar artifact. This sword was used in initiation rituals for new members. The Order of the Solar Temple had a pretty complex hierarchy and organization. To originally be initiated into the organization, you had to show dedication to the Amenta Club, which was a group focused on alternative medicine and spirituality. Their temples were also sacred, with the most sacred spot there being where the masters of the Great White Brotherhood would materialize and show themselves to OTS members.
However, one of DeMambro's sons figured out that these apparitions were in fact faked through use of lasers, light shows, sound effects. He started to spread this information and people became weary of DeMambro's underlying goals. Things began to go south. DeMambro's health was deteriorating and he struggled with internal conflicts. Ex-OTS members had a son and named him Emmanuel. DeMambro felt threatened by this. His daughter, named Emmanuel, was the cosmic child. He deemed Emmanuel the Antichrist and ordered that Emmanuel be murdered. Members went to the house and stabbed the child through the heart with a wooden stake. They also murdered the parents and attempted to burn the house down. The fate of the order is unfortunate. Death occurred among many. Like the Dutoit family, some were murdered and their homes burned. Bodies were found inside the temples. The Awakened performed the transit by suicide poisoning, and the Immortals were shot and murdered.